Hey, this is Tim here with Expert Power Wash. Just finished up this beautiful skid here behind me. This is an 8-foot workhorse skid. I'm going to show you all the details and show you what we built here. Let's take a look. All right, let's jump into this build here. So again, an 8-foot skid, 8 gallons a minute pressure washer. One thing that I really like about the skids that we build is we leave a ton of bed space. So this has, get a better view for you. This has 4 of our 100-gallon slim tanks. So 3 of them are tied together for water. And then the 100-gallon tank on the back is for bleach. We have our slim aluminum fuel tank here. That just kind of maximizes the space here on this skid. But we'll jump into the pressure washer. We'll start there. And then I'll walk you around this skid. So this is our custom built 8-gallon a minute Honda GX690 gear drive pressure washer. You have the Honda exhaust. You have the general pump here on the back. You'll notice that instead of having the unloader here, what we've done with this one is we've custom mounted it all the way down there on the bottom on a block. So that's called a block mounted unloader setup. And then another thing that we've done here, this isn't your typical unloader. This is a pulsar unloader, which means it is a flow sensitive unloader. So when you pull the trigger, you don't have that abrupt jerk of the gun and all that trapped pressure that's behind the trigger. It makes the hose a lot easier to move around houses. It's not front loaded with all that extra pressure. Give you a better look at that from this side. This bypasses back into the tank. So when you're off the trigger, it's constantly recirculating. That keeps the pump nice and cool. It's one of our favorite pumps here, the TSF 2021. It works phenomenal, minimal issues. We got our gear drive set up right there. Then, of course, the 690 Honda motor. Oh, another thing to mention here, this is key start. And then you have the hour meter here at the bottom. Got the pressure washing gun set up there for Wesley. You'll notice one thing different on this skid is it has just a blank aluminum plate here on the back. So Wesley is going to add a pure water system in the future. So that plate's all ready for him to put whatever type of equipment he wants to put on there. You'll notice that we have the T-Jet strainer filter right there. Any water going into the pressure washer is going to be completely filtered out with an 80 mesh stainless steel filter in there. And then going back to the fuel tank, we got brass barbs here for the fill line pickup. And then if you ever wanted to add another machine, there's also another pickup line there. We have it capped for now. And then of course the rollover valve here. That just helps the tank breathe, has a little ball inside that little rollover valve. So as the gas pushes up on that, it'll push the ball up so you don't get any leakage, but you still get air into the tank. Got the 1-inch drain hose. So this, you can quickly, with this much water on this skid, you can drain out your tanks really fast. You can also use it to fill buckets. In an emergency situation, if you had to wash your eyes out, you can also use that for that purpose as well. Got the locking surface cleaner rack up top here. So this is designed for the Whisper Wash 19-inch Classic. It's really the only surface cleaner that we prefer and recommend. There's some others out there, but the Whisper Wash is really just one of those tried and true surface cleaners, and it just works. Completely rebuildable, works great. We've used it for about 8 years in our own business. You got the stainless steel locking mechanism here. So that's going to secure your surface cleaner. That's one of the easiest things that could walk away from a skid if you're parked somewhere in public. Then, of course, the stainless steel hinges there on the side. If you look at the quality of aluminum, everything is very nice, nicely built. Give you another look here on the other side. So ladders would go up here, then of course surface cleaner in that rack there. And then going over to this side, this has 2 18-inch manual reels and then a 12-inch manual reel there at the end. We'll start at this one. So these are full frame aluminum reels. These are our own ones. You see it says Expert down there. So really good high quality grade of aluminum. And then this is a 316 stainless steel. So typically the stainless on most of the good reels out there are like a 304. These are actually an upgrade to those reels. So this handle stainless steel, And then this pipe that runs through the reel here, this is a 316 stainless steel manifold that's going to carry the fluid through the reel and then out to the hose. Another thing to mention about this hose reel is these 18s, these are 3/4. So you'll notice that we have a bigger swivel here, that's 316 stainless as well. You can see the hoses and the clamps. Really, really nice manual hose reels. If you're going to go manual hose reels and not electric, really this is the way to go. So this has 200 feet of the soft jet soft wash hose. Really nice stuff. We've never had one of these burst. 300 PSI. The 12-volt pump is rated at about 100 PSI. By the time it gets to the hose, you're a little less than that. So way overrated. It's going to work really well. We have crimped fittings here on the end of the hose. These are actually stainless steel crimps. Most people won't put these on the hose because they're about 45 to 65 bucks, depending on how the price fluctuates. But we have one here, and then we have one that's on the inside of the hose that connects into the reel. We have the nice Suttner ST510 gun. Then, of course, stainless steel nozzle holders, and then nozzles here at the end. Stainless steel quick connect. And then these nozzles are perfectly dialed to this pump. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. I do have another video here on the channel. I probably won't link it in, but how to choose the right nozzles for your soft wash system. If you're not getting a setup from us, we take a lot of time to test these things. We've ran wash trucks ourselves out in the field for about 8 years. And a lot of this stuff comes from just working in the field and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Next reel here, this is another 18-inch. We have the ball valve swivel. This is for pressure. This isn't one of the cheap swivels that we see sometimes out there in the industry or some of the ones that the guys get from Amazon. That is actually a Mossmatic swivel. And this is an actual DN10 ball valve. This is made in Italy. This isn't some of the cheaper ones. Actually, let me show you a cheap one. We had a guy come into the shop, and I asked if I could keep his ball valve swivel so I could show you guys. Let's see here. This is Mingo or whatever it is. Well, look at this thing. This has the cheap stainless on it. So a lot of the stainless is really thin. You can see if you're ordering something that's not from a reputable dealer like ourselves and some of the others out there, got to be very careful. These often look like they're gray. I don't know if they qualify these as stainless or whatever they are, but this one was on a truck for about 3 months. And just you can see how paper thin this stuff is. And then you can see the handle, it just... So if you guys are building something yourselves, be careful. This is supposed to be a stainless steel swivel off of another cheaper reel. It's just all gummed up. So you got to be careful. You can get something that looks flashy from the start, but it's not going to last real long in the industry. And it's if we're not building it, make sure you're getting good parts, putting this stuff together. The last thing you want is something to break down on you and not last quite as long as you need it to, especially if it's your main source of making income. So we think about those things. We make sure that we put high quality parts on all of our builds and make sure that you guys are set up properly. Even going down to the hose here. So this is Fierce Jet. This is rated at 4250 working pressure. And then it has a burst rate of 10,625, believe it or not. And then rated for hot water as well. So really good stuff. We use all the stainless steel, really nice stainless. We've sourced these through reputable suppliers to make sure that we have good stuff. Even the plug here on the outside, this is full stainless. This costs a couple bucks more to do it this way. So if we're comparing like ourselves to another builder or somebody else out there that says they can do it cheaper, there's a lot of little things. Those little things add up. But trust me, you want those things right from the start. Oh, another thing to mention, these locking pins, these are a 316 stainless as well. So you got, if I didn't mention, you got 200 feet of high pressure hose there. The really nice Fierce Jet. This is smooth jacket. It's not that wrapped stuff. That stuff usually wears out pretty quick and you start seeing the braids in the lines almost immediately. Going down to the next hose reel here, This is just a smaller version of the 18s. This is a 12-inch, all the same as the 18s. We have 3/4 garden hose on here, 100 feet. And then this comes out of the stainless steel swivel, goes up into the tanks, and then that fills up the tanks. So that is all high quality crush-proof hose going into all banjo fittings. You have a Hudson float valve underneath here. Let's see, lid is on tight today. Let's pull this off. I can show you in there. So as the water fills up and it gets to the bottom of that float valve, it'll push it up and actually automatically stop the flow of water, so you don't have to worry about overflowing your tanks when you're filling up. This rolls directly out to the customer's house and then fills up the tanks. See if I can give you a look down here so you can see how we did this. This is really the nice way to do this. This is 1.5-inch hose that's connecting all 3 of these tanks. So as the water fills up into one tank, they're evenly all gonna fill up together. So what this does when you run multiple tanks, these are about 12 inches wide or so. So if you have a big enough truck to where you can roll around with water, you're not gonna be dealing with the sloshing effect. And then another thing too is we're filling into this tank, it's bypassing into this one, and it's pulling out of the front one. So you don't have that violent turbulence of water for the pressure washer that's pulling out of the tanks. It's a really nice smooth flow. You don't have to worry about a bunch of water coming down and putting a bunch of air bubbles into the tanks as you're trying to pull water into the pressure washer. Here's a look at the back here. Actually, this would be up towards the front of the truck, but the back of the skid for us. Take a look at this aluminum here. Give you a closer look. This is 1/4-inch aluminum. And if you look at these welds, you see that hazing here? This is a really good penetrating weld. This isn't 1/8-inch stuff. So, you know, the industry standard out there is pretty much 1/8-inch aluminum because it's a lot cheaper to work with. If you take a look here, so this is a solid gusset here, kind of like something that you see there. But what we've done, if I can get in down behind here and show you, you actually have that 1/4-inch bar that's welded into the side of the skid. So you have the square tube here and then the gusset there. It makes these things pretty much bulletproof. All that square tube is super heavy duty stuff. It's a few more pounds. I think these things are weighing in on average, besides the extra tank, somewhere around 1,200 pounds dry. Let's take a look at the aluminum box here. This is a made in the USA heavy duty aluminum box. You can take a look at, you see the thickness there. If I knock on this thing, this is solid. There's some paper thin ones that they sell on Amazon that are the same size. We absolutely hate them. We brought one in years back just to see if it would be a viable solution, and it ended up breaking within a year. So this is really good, high quality. It locks. Got the keys in behind the latch there. Show you a few things that we do in the box here. So one thing, we ground the battery to the skid. With this skid being full metal, this makes the skid a ground. So if you wanted to hook up lights and you wanted to tag into power on the pressure washer, you can actually run a ground wire anywhere on this skid and it's gonna ground it out. We got the super high quality fuse holder here. This is another made in the USA item. Some of these things, we worked really hard to try to find these things. Most of the wiring and the lugs and all that stuff is usually coming out of China, but those pieces there are US. We're very proud. You know, these things cost like, I think that thing costs right there like $5 or $6 for us to buy those in. And I think you could probably get them on Amazon for $2, so more than double. But if you're using this thing to make money, you don't want to take chances on some of that other garbage stuff. So lots of room in there, really nicely, cleanly ran through a little rubber seal that comes in through here and then just neatly comes up to the battery. That is a marine grade interstate battery in there. Maintenance guide, soft wash guide here. 7-gallon soap tank there. And then our Pro Mixer XL. Got got the mixing controls on the outside, and then of course the 5.3 Remco dual control pump there on the back. So I've made some posts about these new pumps. Let me show you here. We got a bunch in just the other day. This is one of the only pumps that says that it is actually a bleach pump, and it has a commercial warranty as well. So Remco makes a couple different kinds of pumps. They originally got their feet wet kind of in the agriculture, RV sector. So there's pumps that look just like these ones, but they're not the dual control ones. Be very careful that you're not looking for something that is super cheap, get hooked up to your system, and then come to find out it's really not the right pump. So we use the right pump on all of our setups. We like those pumps a lot. We've tested them, ran them for quite a while now. Let's get into this mixer. So 3/4 mixing valve. Typically what most guys will do is they'll put 1/2-inch valves all the way across here. With the upgraded valves and the bigger size, it just helps it meter a little bit better. You also have the 3/4 check valve here. These have a Hastelloy spring in them. Another thing to be super careful about, as I'm probably giving you guys some tips in here as well. I don't want to just do a walkthrough video that just says, hey, buy our skid, but I want to show you what we're doing. And if there's some value that you can get out of some of our walkthroughs that helps you put together your own system, you know, these things are made to make you money. So these are just little tips too, if I can help you out on that front to help you get the right stuff. But these are Hastelloy springs in here. All of our check valves have Hastelloy in them. Typically those are stainless. It's a couple bucks more to go with the Hastelloy, but they last a lot longer. So these are Chemline valves, some of the best valves out there. We've tried a bunch of different other ones. We sell a few other ones for guys that are on a tighter budget, but these are really the kind of the best there is out there. On the soap here, we have a 1/2-inch check valve, or 1/2-inch check valve, 1/2-inch metering valve. And then on the bleach side here, we have another 3/4 check valve and another 3/4 metering valve. And then to the right of that here, you see this is the bleach rinse valve. So you can see we have the little stickers here. So when it's pointed towards water, you're going to pull water into the bleach line. And then you just turn this valve up, and then that's going to allow you to pull chem. So what that does is when you want to rinse out your pump and rinse out your mixing system, you would turn your bleach all the way up, turn your soap off. Water's always on. We rarely touch that. Turn this to water, and then you're bringing water through this bleach valve. Obviously you're not pulling any soap. Soap is a neutral, so it's not going to corrode anything. And then obviously more water coming through this way. So this is both pulling water up into this manifold block, going out to the pump, completely rinsing that out, the hoses, the fittings, all the way out to the gun. Another tip we recommend is to fully rinse out your system. Guys that have problems with these types of systems with corrosion, they're not rinsing them out appropriately. We recommend getting all the bleach out of the line and then just popping off one of these caps here and then opening up your gun and just letting it recirculate into the tank for about 5 or 10 minutes. Give you another look there at the side. We already talked about the pressure washer. Let's talk about the plumbing real quick and I'll let you guys off the video. I know I made this a little bit long, but bypass, we're using a stainless steel sweep in 90. So when you're off the trigger gun, when the pressure washer started, you're recirculating all the way through the tanks and then through the pressure washer pump. Again, that's going to keep it nice and cool and help that pump last a lot longer. On the plumbing back here, you have rubber seals that come through here. So these are perfectly sized for this hose. This is a nice Curie-Tech hose. This isn't hardware store. We've worked with that stuff, I think, on one of the first 1 or 2 skids that we built years back, and it just didn't work well. We really like this stuff, high quality. Let me see if I can get you into the bleach tank here, give you a look at how we're doing this. Some guys won't show you this because they're afraid that you're going to get all of the tips and build your own and not buy from them, but we don't really care, you know, as long as you guys are set up properly. But you can see that is a through tank plumbing system that goes through there, and then there's a piece of PVC that's just kind of loosely on the end of the hose, and then that goes down to a slotted PVC filter. We do sell all this stuff. You guys, you know, want to build something yourself, again, we stock all this stuff here in our store. I'll show you another look at one of those filters and what they look like. We have valves, filters, all kinds of fittings here on the back side. This one is set up for like a 1-inch if we're doing like a gas soft wash system. But you don't put any sealant on this. You just tighten this with a wrench. Make sure you're holding this so you don't break the seal that goes into the slotted PVC. And then the cap on the end. But what you do is you just heat up the hose and slide it on there. Don't use any clamps on this, because if you use a clamp in especially the bleach tank, you're going to have issues with that metal corroding inside the bleach. But that's how you do that. In the past, the industry standard was to put a bulkhead in here, and then you had like a 90 barb that would go out to the mixer, but then you had all these fittings. So you had a fitting on the top for the barb, and then you had a fitting on the bottom inside the tank, and then that would go down to a piece of PVC, and that would just sway with the liquids, and that would almost guaranteed crack every single time. So this is something that we came up with to kind of solve some of those problems and the fail points that we've seen. Because again, like I've ran the trucks, I've had this happen. If you look back on our channel here, we weren't always builders. We ran trucks out in the industry, ran crews, a lot of experience with operating these things on the backside. Alrighty. If you guys are still here and I haven't bored you enough, throw a comment, just say, hey, watch the whole video. If you guys are interested in something like that, I'm going to leave my contact information here in the video description. If you have questions, drop them in there. I'll try to get back to you guys, but I don't always get back to every single comment. I apologize on the front side on that. But if you want something like this, check us out. You can call our store 503-403-6185. Probably the easiest way is go online. It's pressurewashingskids.com. There is a little link on the very front page that says Build My Skid. That is the best way to get in contact with me. Those I manage daily. So as those come in, we send you out an email with the calendar link, and then we set up a discovery call, learn about what you need for your pressure washing business, and then we'll work on getting a build quote sent over to you. All right, guys, have a great day. Hope everybody is having a great season.